Hello YouTube, just a quick disassembly of my blur, Kershaw blur. Yeah, it's an older model. I've had it for quite a number of years. I've looked to an upgrade through the P801 by Rook. I ended up breaking the little torsion bar in the aluminum handle here. I don't even know how it goes on, or I'd try and fix it. The little dedent and liner lock is kind of wearing out as well. The metal at the back of the blade is fine for it, but the aluminum is definitely starting to wear down in places where it's not performing like it used to. As you can see, it's quite dirty. This knife in particular, I had to take apart a fair bit over the years just to try and clean it all out. It just tended to trap a lot of dirt in these little grooves. It was very hard to clean out, to rinse out and blow it with air compressor. So I had to take it apart quite a number of times. You can see the little lock ring there. Everything worked fine for quite some time. It's just the wear and tear on the knife. Eventually it just wears down, breaks down. One of the biggest problems with these knives, but it gave me quite a number of years of service, and that's a good thing. I do appreciate the wear on the aluminum scales are quite light, and as you can see, they've worn in quite a bit, but it's not too bad. That's probably about a good decade worth of not everyday carry, but mostly everyday carry. So it's one of the knives I'm retiring. I look to replace it with the P801. I do find that the steel scales on this are a little bit heavy, so I'm trying to find another EDC knife to be able to take, obviously in my everyday carry, that's a little bit lighter. One of the big things I don't like about this particular model is the flipper tab. It's fun to flick open, but I do find it wears down on my forefinger in comparison to most other knives that I have. So this will probably be relegated to my couch knife, where it's fun to flick open while I watch movies. Other than that, I absolutely love the 14C28N steel. Although I do find that in between the rake models, I do have the Hornet as well, which is a fixed blade. I take it as my companion knife out in the bush. The Rockwell hardness on that, I believe, it says it's 58 to 60. It's a lot harder than this. This is definitely a very soft steel, somewhere probably 57, 58 on the Rockwell hardness. I know it says 58 to 60, but it could be just one of the batch, it's a large batch heat treatment, so it could just be one of those ones that got away in the heat treatment. Some of my other little small folding knives that I've had over the years, and some of the ones that I've had recently, are in the more gentleman folder, old grandpa style knives. I do tend to like the sod buster or the single blade knives. I carried the Victorinox Pioneer for probably the better part of a decade now, and I've had the driver since I was about 7, so very familiar with this knife. I don't tend to use any of the tools anymore, especially for everyday carry, so it just seems a little bit overkill. And I find the steel fairly soft for what I do. I don't cut a ton, like I don't cut up, tons of cardboard boxes or open up tons of packaging through the day. But I do find that pretty well at the end of the day, I'm using this on the strop, which isn't terrible, I guess. I just prefer a different steel, so I'm on the lookout for a new EDC, something with a small belt clip. And it's one of the things that these don't have. And they fit great in the coin pocket of a pair of jeans, but if I'm wearing board shorts or light linen pants in the summer, or a pair of dress pants, they don't tend to sit in very well, and they tend to fall out very easily as well. I do have the Imperial Sodbuster Junior. As you can see, I just took a Dremel to it to add a little bit of traction. It worked out well. I do find with this one, when I first got it, there's quite a bit of burring on the end, and there's actually brass slivers that got caught in my hands, so I had to sand all of that down, Dremel it all down, make it flush and smooth. As you can see, the lockup isn't it's fairly tight, but it's very gritty. And I've tried grease, I've tried oil, I've tried a lot of different things, and it doesn't seem to make a difference. The second problem I have with this particular knife is that it's very soft. I'd put it up there with Duke level steel, just stainless junk steel, where I can get it fairly sharp. I can't quite get it to shave hair, just almost. It's so close. And it does some EDC tasks okay. I don't know if you can see it. Right in the middle there, there's a little dent in the blade. And I think it's from the pin at the back of the blade. And I've taken off quite a bit of material, and I can get it sharp and it'll go away, and then I'll close the knife again and it comes back. So that's one of the inherent problems with, well, $13 knife. Other than that, it's fairly serviceable. I use it for digging up things in the garden. Very tough tasks where I'm not really overly worried whether it breaks or not. My current EDC is my case. Sodbuster. Beautiful, beautiful knife. The finish on this is spectacular. It's just a gorgeous knife. I love the chestnut finish on it. The CV steel is pretty good. It's not terrible. Kind of more into that where I've just had better experiences with other steels. It's fine for, I believe it's 1086. I believe it's hardened to somewhere around 56, 57, the Rockwell hardness. It does lose its edge fairly readily. It does get razor sharp, but I can get it just as sharp as a lot of my Svandex steel knives, whether it's my Moras or my Briss or Enzos. It's very comparable. It just loses its edge very quickly. The other big problem I have with this particular knife is that it's a two-handed opening knife. So there are some situations, especially when I'm out, fishing, I need to cut something quickly, where I prefer a thumb stud or something I can flick open. I don't quite need the flicker tab, and to be quite honest, I really don't need a blade this long. It functions very well, and for the purpose of what I need to cut, it's fine. It's just more blade and more knife, more heft than I needed as an EDC knife. I've got enough fixed blades that this is one of those in-between knives, and I find a lot of the folders out there are very tough and robust, but they just don't measure up to a lot of the fixed blade knives, such as the Ray Cornet. It's just a well-built knife, and I'll do another review on this. It's absolutely fantastic and is quickly becoming my outdoor companion knife for sure. So I am thinking of getting the Spyderco Dragonfly in ZDB 189. It seems like a good steel. It's about the same size. I've never really been a Spyderco fan as far as blade shapes. You can see kind of either like the typical drop point or the spear point. It's just something that lends well to utilitarian use for cutting up very small items, opening up packaging, cutting up small produce, that kind of nature. I'm trying to stay away from carbon steels. Well, I love the CV. I think it's a fantastic steel. I kind of wish that Case would come out with a better steel for their knives. I mean, everything else is just beautifully done. As you can see, I haven't forced a patina on here. It's just definitely through wear and tear, and it does not take long at all to develop kind of a light matte gray patina with spots on it. So it gives the knife character, and that's great. I love that part of it. But even finding something that's maybe a little bit more sturdy and a little bit more durable than the bone, it gives really good grip and traction. I just feel that if I'm out in a cold or wet environment where I drop this on a rock or cement or something, that this will chip or crack or dent where a plasticky material may not. So one of the advantages of things like Spyderco, as you can see with the aluminum scales, this has gone through some pretty hard use, and it's held up very, very well. So I don't mind the aluminum scales. In fact, I think they're great. But as you can see here, just over time, they do tend to collect a lot of dirt, dust, grime, especially with the stuff that I'm using for either food prep, opening up game, whether it's fishing or hunting. again, with the frame lock and just a frame knife, definitely a lot easier to clean and take apart and service, which is a good thing. I just think for the usefulness and the ease of cleaning, it's not even that it's stronger, it's just the ease of cleaning and availability to not just have in my pocket, but strapped to my pack. It does come with attachment to be able to horizontal belt carry, sideways, horizontal, vertical, you know, so many options on that. And with the retention screw, I just think it's fantastically done. I'll go over this through some testing at one point. And when I get the EDC of my dreams, I believe, I'll get there. It's only been, what, 30 years, so always new and wonderful things to discover with the knives that we've got today and all the choices that we have. So researching it, if you have any ideas or suggestions, give me in the comments below. Something with a small blade, fairly decent sized handle with a clip, but fairly lightweight, that type, you know, what your favorite EDC knife is. Thanks for watching.